All right. Looks like we're live. Okay. It is Friday, March 1st, 2024 at 6:02 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're here in Fallout 76. Hope everybody had a great week. Hope everybody's looking forward to the weekend. And I hope y'all enjoyed my Hallucinogen Inc. Lore video. Basically, today is just going to be a discussion of what I'm working on right now. Whoa. uh, Upcoming lore videos and stuff like that. Um, so I'll probably wait a minute here, see if we can get some folks to show up, and then we'll actually start discussing that stuff a little bit more. At the moment, I'm also going to open this up on my phone, just so I can, again, make sure I can see. There we are. Oh, there I am. Okay. All right. I'll give this about a minute. If nobody shows up, I'll just talk, and we'll close things out after that. So, all right. So, here we are, outskirts of Charleston. Of course, destroyed in the Christmas Day flood of 2082. Thanks to David Thorpe. Let's kill this Scorched right there. I wouldn't blame folks if they don't show up today. I missed last week. The week before that, it was on a Saturday, so I'm going to try to make sure that I actually start doing this thing on a proper schedule. And I mean, I've had reasons for not doing it on specific days, but it just makes a lot more sense to do it on a specific set day every week. So, let's see. Oh. Let's see. Okay, well, it's been about 2 minutes, so I'll just go ahead and start talking here. Alright, so I'm taking 1 week off of video production, but it's not because I'm not working on stuff video related. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working on the channel website, because I've realized that I can't both work on videos and the channel website at the same time. I need to devote myself to one or the other, and I just finished up February with a good 3 videos in it, and so I'm going to take 1 week here, work on the channel website. I don't know if I don't, and I'm not even saying like necessarily like the finished product, but at least a minimum viable product. That's what I'm going to be trying to do here. So in terms of what's coming next for lore videos, there's a reason I'm here in 76. I mean, I could have been in Starfield because that's actually what's going to come next, but it's been a little while since I've been in 76, so I figured I'd hop in here. Well, technically, I actually recorded some stuff in here just last week. But anyway, so Starfield, I'm going to do a addendum video to my ECS Constant lore video, the Lost in Time video that I did back in September of 23. And it's just going to basically be covering things that I've discovered since then, specifically things like the communications you have with Janet Yang inside of, what's it called, New Atlantis, with the letter that she wants to send back to her sister Julie. And along with that, I'm just going to respond to a lot of comments people had, because there were a huge number of comments on that video. And then along with that, there's a little bit of additional content related to specifically wearing the tardigrade monster costume on board the ship, and also being starborn when you board the ship. There are different options that come. At the very least, the starborn one. I need to test the tardigrade one, because I have actually experienced using the tardigrade suit, but I have not visited the ECS Constant while wearing it. I thought that it would be this, because you talk to the doctor who has you do it. So real quick backstory there. There's a doctor on Titan. Titan has the colony New Homestead. The doctor is upset with the number of tourists because tourists are constantly getting themselves hurt, and they are overcrowding her limited facilities in the clinic there. So she basically wants to discourage people from coming to New Homestead, so she's trying to scare people off. So she has you wear the tardigrade costume to go scare tourists. Well, anyway, the way you talk to her, she's like, you do this for me a couple more times, I'll give you the costume to keep. So I start going off, I do other things. I do other stuff for like 8 hours nothing pops up on my quest log about going back to check in with her. So I don't know if maybe my quest is bugged, or if maybe just that part of the quest was never completely finished out. But what I'll end up doing anyway is go back to where I got the costume. I'll go back to an old save, grab that costume, go to the ECS constant, and see what reaction I get when I get there. And then I'll add that in. That's really the last bit of content that I need to record. Everything else I have experienced. Actually, the Starborn stuff, I've experienced the first contact with Captain Brackenridge, but I need to make sure that there's no additional Starborn options throughout the quest line. My guess is there probably are one or two here and there throughout it. So I'll check on that. But other than that, it's basically just responding to people's comments about problems with the ship, problems with the name of the ship, problems with some of the things they did during the quest. There are a huge number of people that weirdly think that Captain Brackenridge was literally talking about fighting a war against the people of Porma 2 to try to claim the planet. I don't really know what that's all about. But anyway, I'm going to address all that. So once I get that video done, which I should be able to get that done easily within just a few days, because again, I've got most of the footage there. It's just a question of capturing the last little bit. And I've actually got 90% of the script written, so it's not going to be a big thing. But once I finish that, I'm going to be back here in Fallout 76, and specifically, I'm going to be going to the pit. Not the pit, sorry, Atlantic City. Because I need to start doing the surveil videos on Atlantic City. Now there's the 2 locations that are currently available for tax evasion and the most sensational game. My understanding is that they're going to be adding another location that you can go visit either in March or April. I'm not entirely sure. Whenever they do that, though, I'll obviously add a third surveil video for that. And I'm glad that I actually decided to kind of wait on that content for a little while, because the way I did it with the pit was I did the surveil videos, then I did a video on the factions of the pit, and based on those 2 locations within the pit. Now, within Atlantic City, if I had basically knocked that stuff out in the course of a month and a half, 2 months, then they suddenly, and again, in March or April of this year, they release new content for that. It would make that video completely out of date automatically, so I'm glad that I did basically wait on the Atlantic City content. And it's not like I didn't have other things to work on at the time anyway. So anyway, though, so again, order of content here, Starfield, then I'm going to be moving on to Atlantic City. And I'll probably do both of those surveil videos. And then before I move on to do, again, I'm going to probably wait for the third one before I do the factions of Atlantic City. So I'll move on to another video after that. And that one will probably be Fallout New Vegas, probably Novak. Because I part of the reason I'm doing the channel website is because I need to have it set up to host the maps of the Metro. Because I haven't been doing it lately because I've been working on too much other stuff, but there was a while where I was drawing up the maps of the Metro. Back in January, I was trying to do the Metro video, and I realized with the sheer volume of secondary materials I'd be releasing to the public, I needed a better place to release that stuff. Because, like, I put together entire spreadsheets, a full, what would be the way to put it, a full catalog of the entirety of the flora and fauna of the settled systems in Starfield. And I don't know if maybe half a dozen people have even bothered to try to access that, because I literally just tweeted out a link to a Google Smartsheet. And so that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? An Excel file, whatever, Google's thing. And so it's one of those things where it's, if I want to make this so that it's easily accessible to people, I need to just be able to point them to a website where it's like, if you need to see any of the information that I've collected in any of the games that I've documented, you can go ahead and go to my website and you can look at the stuff there. And so that's what I'm going to do. And also it's going to host video streaming and stuff like that. And that'll be for, instantly available to all my patrons. And if I can figure out how to do the channel members, I'll do that one too. I'm still trying to figure out the channel member stuff, because like with patrons, I automatically have access to their emails through the fact that they've signed up to be patrons on Patreon. And so I can send them links. Backing up slightly, I host all the videos that I make for YouTube. I host them on an S3 server with Amazon Web Services. And so I actually can allow my patrons to stream those things free whenever they want. I've also got links specifically to those things on the Discord within a free section. Within an ad-free section that is the paid section for anybody in the Patreon that, within the Discord that is a patron. I need to figure out how to do that for YouTube members, though, because like until about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know where I could find the list of my members. And I realized at that point that one of my members had actually changed their username in between when they had first signed up and when I was making new videos. So I changed their name over in that. But I need to see if there's some way I can get their emails so that I can also send them links to the videos. And so that when the channel website is fully set up, I can give them credentials to the video to access the videos. But if you're not aware, hosting video and streaming it is not a free thing. And that is one of the things that my patrons effectively pay for is the fact that I have to host, I have to pay Amazon to host these videos. So that's that right there. That's why I don't know, at some point in the future, I may make them streamable with ads on the website. I don't know if I can figure that sort of thing out. I did a web development boot camp back in 2020, right before tech started to die. And it was one of those things where it's like, hey, I've got no experience. Who wants to hire me? And then it's like, oh, well, we just had a bunch of companies lay off people with 10 years of experience. So you're up against them. And at the same time, when I graduated, I was already 30, and most companies are looking for people, you know, that are like right out of high school, right out of college. So, and it's also my own fault. I should have sent out more applications and things like that. But even then, I would probably guess that with the way the tech industry's been going the past year, that I probably would have been laid off by this point with the sheer lack of experience that I would have had compared to a lot of other people. So anyway, though, just wasn't in the cards for me, I guess, with that stuff. But anyway, it gives me more time to make videos. So again, Starfield, then Atlantic City Surveils, then Novak. And if I can get the channel website working, then I will move on to make the Metro video so I can get that thing out to y'all. It'd be great if I could find some way to do some sort of... I want to set it up to where it's like an interactive map set, to where you can basically... do like GPS routing and stuff like that, because I've done that sort of stuff before in terms of creating algorithms to like find the shortest path and stuff like that. It's the way that things like Google Maps and stuff like that work, but I could set it up for things like the Fallout 3 Metro system, to where it's like, okay, I am currently just outside the Tepid Sewer. I want to get to the Capitol building. What is the route that I should take? And I would basically run through the map myself, getting the times that it takes to run through the sewer, and this is like combat free. So just assuming that the person just ignores all the threats, runs through the sewers as fast as their legs can carry them, and gets from spot to spot to spot. How fast can you get there, and basically give people the fastest route from location to location. That's my eventual goal with that. It's kind of like the original goal is just get the maps onto the website. Actually, the original goal is website, then get the maps on the website. This is kind of like, if that other stuff happens, then create this interactive mapping feature. So, okay, so again, with the Metro kind of being in the background, after like interspersed potentially between Starfield, 76's Atlantic City, and New Vegas's Novak. I wonder what the hell was that?
Hit rock bottom yet. Just you wait.
Okay, I guess he's just drunk. Along with that, Fallout 4. I just finished Hallucinogen Inc., obviously, and so that was in the whole series that I'm creating to try to cover the Gunners. And so when it comes right down to it, I'm still trying to see if I need to do 1 or maybe 2 more videos before the Gunners, or covering the Gunners as a whole, or if I'm good to go as it is. Because basically looking at it, I've covered the vaults the Gunners operate in, which I think are 75 and 95, if I'm not remembering that incorrectly. I've covered Quincy, which the Gunners took over. I've covered Hallucinogen Inc., which is a Gunner location. Now, these are not the only Gunner locations, but these are locations the Gunners have occupied that also have their own lore. And that's specifically why I've made videos on those before going on to make the video on the Gunners themselves. Now, there are 2 other spots that I'm going to be looking into to see whether or not they are worthy of a lore video before covering them as just part of the overall Gunners video. And that is the Gunners outpost within Nuka World. And then along with that, there is Mass Fusion. I think Mass Fusion will have enough lore for me to cover that before moving on to the Gunners themselves. So potentially we're looking at a 3 video streak after which time I'll be done with the Gunners. It could just be a 1 video streak, which I don't really think you can call that a streak. Or a 2 video streak with, again, Nuka World. We'll see. But after the Gunners are done, I probably a year and a half ago at this point told somebody once I'm done with that, I'll cover Covenant. That little town that has like the synth test or whatever. And so that's the next thing after finishing the Gunners. So we'll see where we go after that. Still plenty of stuff to cover in Fallout 4. I have barely scratched the surface of that game, even with the videos that I've made on all the municipalities and 2 of the vaults. Three of the vaults. I've covered 3 of the vaults in that. 4. I've covered 4 of the vaults in that, because I did 101. That was actually my first one. No, sorry, 111. I still need to cover 101 at some point, and 76. 76 is the only open vault in 76 that I haven't covered yet. But 111 I've covered. I can't remember some of the numbers. 88 I still technically need to cover fully. Is 85 one of those? I know 95 and 75 are vaults there, and I've covered both of those. One of those being the vault where they were basically doing the Ubermensch program, and then the other one was all the drug addicts in the same location. But yeah, so I have... again, after the Gunners, I still have more stuff to cover, though, is basically the main point of this. Now, if you didn't see it on Twitter, and if you're not part of my Discord, then you won't have seen this yet. If you check out the thumbnail that I put out for this video, it actually has a little bit of an image here. Powering up Poseidon. I really wish you could just, like, not have these things play. Let's just go over to data and turn off this event. Anyway, though. There we go. Okay. So, in the process of covering the front of the Poseidon Energy Plant here the other day, I made a discovery that I hadn't realized had changed. So, I had originally made a little video of this place back in March of 2020. I don't know specifically what lore video that was for. But regardless, it covered the fact this front, basically it was a shot like this. If I back up here a little bit, something like this, maybe a little bit wider. I think I used a wide angle lens on it. But this APC was a tank at that point back in 2020. I don't know precisely why they changed it. I think potentially what happened here was they discovered that, well, not discovered, that they reviewed the lore here, which is that the Associated Miners Union was staging a protest against Poseidon Energy because Poseidon Energy, while renovating this plant, had automated away a huge number of jobs. So they were here protesting against Poseidon Energy. They, in the end, brought in the National Guard, and the National Guard dispersed the Associated Miners Union, or attempted to, by firing hallucinogen gas into the crowd. That caused a massive riot that ended up destroying the local National Guard force. I think that this happened basically right before the bombs. We're looking at like Friday or even that Saturday that this occurred, because I can't... There would be cop cars out here, right? Am I wrong in thinking that? That if this had happened like a week before the bombs, that there would be like at least signs of like a crime scene set up here or something like that. Ambulances, not, again, if it had been like a week, there wouldn't still be ambulances out here, but there'd be a sign that this had been responded to, and that is not the case. There's still signs that the protest was going on here. The APCs are still here. You'd think the National Guard would have like moved them around or something. I don't know. But regardless, I don't think that the tank fit the lore of the National Guard trying to basically... And like the overt view of it was trying to prevent the protesters, evil rioters, from coming in here and destroying this beautiful power plant, when of course what they were actually doing was trying to cause the riot to take place so that they could then blame the people in the camp for being violent rioters rather than peaceful protesters that had a legitimate concern about the future of their lives. But anyway, yeah, so that's something that I covered this week, not in terms of a video, but something that I talked about a little bit on Twitter and with my Discord members. So anyway, though, back to videos. So we talked about 4, and so after the Metro video in 3, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to cover next. There's still so much of 3 that I have yet to cover. At some point, as distasteful as it is, I'm going to need to cover Paradise Falls. I went to go interact with that stuff more in this past week than I have ever before, because I've had such just like vehement hatred for the Slavers of Paradise Falls that I, since 2008, I've not bothered to talk to them. I just go in guns blazing every single time. This time, though, I needed to get the Mesmetron in hand so that I could take a screenshot of it, get the Mesmetron manual, get images of that. And so I did that, and I realized I just need to actually cover these guys, get it out of the way, because they're the worst. So that's what I'll probably end up covering that after I cover the Metro, just because I do want to actually cover it, because it's a subject that I actually don't know a huge amount about, and it's also something that I want to finish so I can move on from it and again not have to think about it again. It's like, I like that the fact that they're like in the game, because I feel like it's something that will happen again if humanity undergoes a massive apocalypse. Basically, the dignity of individual human life will probably be viewed as a thing of the past, of the decadent past or something like that, you know, but it's just so disgusting. Anyway, okay, so other than that, let's see. So at that point, I would think the cycle would kind of, well, it's, again, I'm going to probably be interspersing Starfield videos here and there throughout that. We're getting another update to Starfield in April, I think. I don't know, March. I think it's like in a week in March, actually. They originally said February, but I think that they pushed that off till March. Anyway, they're doing some fixes to the game. Finally they're adding emotes, like the ability to emote within the photo mode, which is so weird, because like you go in here and emoting in photo mode has been a thing in 76 since the game launched. And it's like, and I'm wearing a helmet here, so I gotta take that off. But the fact that the game launched without the ability to change the look on your face is so bizarre to me, because it's like, how did you guys screw that up? Like, again, you'd already done it. Now, I get it, like, this is a previous version of the engine compared to Starfield, but at the same time, the fact that, like, you didn't have the ability to do that in Starfield is just bizarre to me. I guess the photo mode wasn't, like, other than having the photo mode, it wasn't viewed as being, like, that big a necessity to really finish that thing off, but I don't know. It just seems like such a simple thing to do. Anyway, so that's coming. Also looking forward to whenever they potentially add some more content to Starfield, so we'll see about that. But again, seems like this is going to be a big year for 76. Again, more content coming to Atlantic City. It seems like at some point in the future they're going to be opening Vault 63. So we'll see exactly what happens then. They're also, I believe they're doing some sort of next-gen update to Fallout 4 at some point, which I've seen a bunch of modders being like, please, Bethesda, leave that alone. Because every time they do that, it breaks a huge number of mods. I don't typically use mods just because I don't want to end up with some non-canon material in the game. But yeah, I absolutely understand it. I have used them at times in the past. In fact, when I filmed the video in Lexington, I think I had a little bit of mod content in there. So I had a couple of Minutemen that were wearing, I would say lore appropriate, but still not canonical Minutemen outfits. And so, again, that's why I've specifically cut that stuff out of the games, because I don't want to end up with that kind of stuff in there. Basically, it was just the Minutemen wearing uniforms that had Minutemen sigils on them and stuff like that, which you would think they would have regardless. But at some point in 76, I do need to cover Charleston. It's the only town that I have yet to cover. Along with that, I'm still planning on redoing the videos on Point Pleasant and Beckley and Welch. In Point Pleasant, I still have yet to see a Mothman Equinox event in the calendar, but I also have not been nearly diligent enough about looking into that, so I'm definitely going to need to do that. But yeah, just I started thinking about covering Charleston when I was walking through this, because this is so close to Charleston, it'll obviously be covered with Charleston itself as well. So, anyway, though, let's see what else. So yeah, I talked about Fallout 4, Fallout 3, New Vegas. I'm basically going to keep following the route of the courier. I kind of took a little bit of a detour Because typically, I don't know about y'all, but I actually don't usually go to Searchlight before heading to Novak. But at the same time, it seemed appropriate given that I had the character just leave Nipton. And with the atrocities in Nipton caused by the Frumentarius, Volpes, and Colta, it seemed appropriate to go to Light. And so, covering that now, I will now be able to move on to Novak. And at some point, I'm going to just actually start covering characters individually as well. There was a comment on the Searchlight video with someone saying it's like, oh, that's not just a sniper spot overlooking the road between Cottonwood Cove and what's it called, Searchlight. That's the spot where Boone goes to kill his wife, I think is the story there. It's been so long since I've done Boone's storyline. And it's like, yeah, I mean, true, but that's not why the sniper point was set up in the first place. That was actually, the order to set that up actually came from Camp McCarran. So, anyway, though, I will eventually need to cover Boone, and getting to Novak means I'm definitely getting closer to that. And I'm not sure if I'm going to cover things. Obviously, if I'm going to cover the Great Khans as a faction, I'll need to cover the, what's it called, that massacre. Man, it's been a while since I've covered that kind of, since I've visited that content in the game. Never covered it, obviously. The NCR massacre of the Great Khans, and Boone was involved with that. Anyway, though, so yeah, I'll probably cover that at least briefly in Boone's content and more extensively in covering the Great Khans. But I don't know. I'll have to. I'll see where. I'll see what gets precedence where. Obviously, that's a huge event to the Great Khans, but it's also a formative event for Boone, so I don't know. But then along with that, there's the Rose of Sharon Cassidy, which I feel like I need to cover Mojave Outpost, potentially as a singular video for it. Just because, I mean, it is a fairly major location for the NCR. So we'll see. We'll see. But what else? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's most of it. I bought Helldivers 2 the other day. I still have yet to play it. The game looks amazing. Really looking forward to getting into that. But I just haven't had time. And again, this weekend is going to be... I'm going to be trying to spend at least 8 hours a day working on that website, if not more. I really want to get that thing done because I found a mock-up of it from the fall of 2022. It's ridiculous how long I've been talking about doing this. I have to actually get it done. I'm not sure just yet exactly what technologies I'm going to use to build it. I am technically trained with the MERN stack, which is Mongoose, Express, React, and Node. But we'll see. We'll see exactly which way I go with that. Just because nothing wrong with SQL. What else? Again, the script for that Starfield video is basically done, other than specifically covering the content related to the Starborn and tardigrade costume stuff. And that's not a terribly long script either, because again, it's just a follow-up video. It's an addendum, so it's a few little things here and there additional to the story, and a lot of the rest of it is just basically clearing up misconceptions and responding to comments and stuff like that. And then again, after that, it'll be right back here to Fallout 76 to cover Atlantic City. Well, I don't see anybody with any chats. I do see that there are 5 of y'all out there. So I think at this point, unless somebody has a question they want to ask, I'm probably just going to close things out here and get to work on some other stuff. I hope that you all have had a good week and that you all have a good weekend. And hopefully by next Friday, I'll have something like a minimum viable product of a website. And I'm only going to spend a week on this because if I a week on it now. And so basically the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to work on the website for a week, then I'm going to get back to video production. And I feel weird when I'm not working on the videos, honestly. Like I feel like I'm not doing stuff. Like it's almost like that feeling you get where it's like, did I study enough for this exam? Except for it's like, obviously just I'm not putting in the effort to making videos right now, so it doesn't feel normal. But so yeah, I'm going to do a week of this website, and then I'm going to get right back into making videos. That Starfield video should take no more than a few days to put together, and then after that, the surveil video for Atlantic City, that one is actually going to take some time. Because if you're not aware of my process with that, I visit the location 5 times, allowing the loot to fully respawn, so that I can get a full tally of all the loot there. I also try to get a full tally of all the collectibles there, and those don't pop up every single time. That's why I visit it 5 times. And then along with that, getting an accounting of all the lore that's available in terms of notes, terminal entries, holotapes, things like that. Putting that all together for you, and basically having a planned route that I can take through that territory to show you all the specific things about that area. Any specific quests that take place there as well, talking about that stuff. And not only is this something that I think is informative and useful to people on the outside, but it also starts to clear up my thinking about the factions, the lore that's there, and gives me a full investigation of the stuff so that I'm ready to talk to you all about it in the future. So anyway, though, each one of those, that's going to take some time. Because it's almost the sort of thing where it's like I can visit one of these spots maybe twice a day. And so it's at least like a 3-day process to finish, like, just surveying these things fully. And then there's also the time to actually walk it. And with things in the pit, at the very least, I feel like each one of those videos was like an hour long because those locations are so large. Now, I don't know if... I have not visited the Atlantic City locations enough to know the real size of them, especially not comparable to the pit. But they're large, so I'll have to look into that and see exactly what's involved with that in terms of the size. So, all right, though. No comments, no questions, it seems. So, and again, I've even got this video open on my phone, so I don't see anything there either. Typically, if people are commenting and I'm missing it, it's something where it's not showing up where it doesn't show up on my screen, but it still shows up on the phone. So I'm just gonna call it quits here, and I'm gonna say I hope you all have a good weekend and a good start to your next week. I will see you all next Friday, again, hopefully with a minimum viable product of the website. I'm gonna figure out exactly where I'm gonna host this thing, the exact website URL and all that stuff. But that stuff is really kind of secondary for the moment to actually building the website in the first place, which is all stuff that can be done specifically on my computer, and then setting up connections to the already extant Amazon S3 server, which is currently hosting all the video content. So anyway, I hope you all have a, again, for the 3rd time, a good weekend and a good start to the next week. I'll see you all next Friday.